It's time, it's time, it's time. Today is July 24th, 2025, and it is 9:21 a.m. The prequel to the 48 Laws of Power, the prequel to the 48 Laws of Power, the prequel to the 48 Laws of Power. The Prince, the Prince, the Prince. Now, when you think of the Prince, the first thing that might come to your mind is cutthroatness, negativity, manipulation, and all those things are correct. Because in life, you have to know when to be those things. It's not wrong. There's a time and a place. When you're dealing with an enemy, when you're dealing with competition, when you're dealing with opposition, those things are necessary. Okay. And The Prince was written based off of the time. It was written by Niccolo Machiavelli. Okay. And it was pretty much a book on how to rule. Unlike the 40 Laws of Power, which is about indirection and manipulation, The Prince was about how to rule. Okay. And I'm going to be discussing the three things that I learned from The Prince, written by Niccolo Machiavelli. I read The Prince way back, over 10 years ago, when I had my prepaid touch phone, when touch screen phones just came out. The first book that I read that was an ebook, which is now called Kindle books, was called Think and Grow Rich. That was the first self-help book that I read in general. Okay. And then after that, I read the 48 Laws of Power. I had the pocket-sized version. And then I went and read The Prince, a downloadable version on the app that was pretty much what the Play Store is now. It wasn't a Play Store at that time. It was what the Play Store is now, where you can go and download different books and stuff. Okay. But the main three things I learned from The Prince was, the first thing that I learned was the infamous, it is better to be feared than to be loved, if you can't have both. And you must despise being hated. And the reason why you should be feared more than loved, my opinion, is when love you have control over, fear you don't have control over. When you fear someone, you fear consequence of crossing a specific line. 50 Cent said it the best. Everyone has a healthy paranoia of fear. You're very cautious when you cross the street because you do not want to become harmed by a car that's riding in the street. That's a healthy fear. When you instill a healthy fear in a person, they're not going to cross specific lines. It's not about doing harm to people. It's about carrying yourself with respect. It's about treating people with respect. Because once you give people respect and they don't want to give you that respect back, they're going to have to face the consequences. So when a person has a healthy fear, they're not going to cross that line. When it comes to love, you don't know why a person loves you. They can love the fact that they could disrespect you. They can love the fact that they could treat you any kind of way. They can love the fact that they can manipulate you. They can love the fact that they could deceive you. They can love the fact that they can snake you. They can love the fact that they could be cutthroat with you. They can love the fact that you're a doormat. You'll never know what a person may love about you because you don't have control over that. But when you respect yourself and you carry yourself with respect, they're going to have a healthy fear to not cross that line. Because when you look them in the eye, when you give them the eye of the tiger, when you give them those lion eyes, when you give them those wolf eyes, they're going to want to find out what's behind those eyes, or they don't want to find out what's behind those eyes. Okay? The second thing I learned from Niccolo Machiavelli's The Prince was you have to eliminate all lineage, okay? And it's talked about from a position of force, but it doesn't have to be to that extent. It doesn't have to be to that magnitude. It can be business. If you take over a company, if you're the new CEO of a company, okay, that you didn't build, you have to fire everybody that was associated with the old leader, with the old owner, with the old chief, because they represent that old lineage. They represent that old regime. They represent the old way of doing things, okay? But Machiavelli's example was if you take out a king by force or a leader by force, you have to take out the family as well, because the family is the lineage. Okay? And this could be, in this day and time, this could be applied in business. Okay? You know, this is where the term is business, not personal, hits very hard. Because business is a form of competition. It's a form of war. So if you brought a new company or you took over a new company that you didn't build and someone else was in charge before you, you have to eliminate the lineage and start your own lineage. Because that lineage represents the old authority and you're the new authority. It's not personal, it's business. It's not personal, it's business. It's not personal, it's always business. Nino Brown, New Jack City. Okay? And the third and final thing that I learned from Niccolo Machiavelli's The Prince is what you see in the thumbnail. This beautiful picture I have on my lock screen and as my wallpaper on my phone that I'm doing this video on right now. Niccolo Machiavelli says that any ruler, any leader that wants to rule successfully must be half man and half beast, which in a nutshell means be half lion and half fox. You have to learn when to be strong and stand, and you have to learn how to sit back and be cold and calculated. You notice with a fox, and Bernard Hopkins said this the best. You never see foxes as roadkill. You never see any foxes laying around dead. You rarely even see any dead foxes because they don't die. They don't die through stupidity. They don't live, stupid. I've never seen a dead fox because they don't die dumb. They don't get hit by cars, you know. And predators, they don't want that headache because a fox is going to draw you to their territory. A fox has multiple foxholes. So if a predator wants to eat a fox is going to draw you to their territory where they go in one foxhole, come out another foxhole. You chase them over there, they go in that foxhole, come out another. And then the predator is going to want to eat something else, prey on something else. They don't want the headache of the fox. Because once the fox gets to their territory, you're going to have to catch them in their foxholes that they built. They have home field advantage. You get what I'm saying? And when it comes to being a lion, you have to know when to stand. You have to know when to look a person right in their eye and say what you mean and mean what you say. Give them those lion eyes. Give them the eye of the tiger. Give them those wolf eyes to let them know you're not a person to be tested. You're never prey. You're the predator. You're never prey. You're the predator. You're never prey. You're the predator. Okay? So this is genius, and this is very effective. And this is why I have this as my lock screen and my wallpaper on my phone. And when I get my own residence, when I get my own house, I'm going to have a picture of this. I might get one made. I might get a painting made, or I might buy a picture of a half lion and a half fox to always remind myself to always be that perfect balance of man and beast. So these are my 3 things that I learned from Niccolo Machiavelli's The Prince. It is better to be feared than to be loved if you can't be both. Number 2, you must destroy any lineage. And number 3, man must be half man and half beast, half lion to be strong enough to scare people away, and half fox to be smart enough to avoid traps. Now, the difference between The Prince, written by Niccolo Machiavelli, and The 48 Laws of Power, written by Robert Greene, is pretty much The Prince was written based on the perspective of a leader or a king ruling his state, country, or domain. The 48 Laws of Power was based off of how to be indirect in life, based off of the 48 laws. Okay? The 48 Laws of Power was written based off of this time, which also have examples of how the examples of Robert Greene was applied back in the old times. Okay? But in a nutshell, it's based off of how to be indirect, how to be deceptive, how to be manipulative in this day and time, with examples of how they were used in the old time. Okay? But I 100%, and this is my opinion, believe that without The Prince, written by Niccolo Machiavelli, there wouldn't be no 48 Laws of Power. There wouldn't be, and without the 48 Laws of Power, there wouldn't be no 50th Law of Power, written by Robert Greene and my favorite rapper of all time, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. Okay? So they all They all have a lineage, okay? The 50th law of power is connected to the lineage of the 48 laws of power, and the 48 laws of power has its lineage from the prince, okay? And I plan on getting the special edition of the 48 laws of power, which has a hologram in between the pages of Robert Greene when you flick the pages one way, and Niccolo Machiavelli when you flick the pages the other way. And I'm going to be doing a video when I do get that book because it's my favorite book of all time. And it's earned a place in my library. I'm going to build a small library when I get my own residence of the top 5 books. I might do 10, 5 to 10 books that has changed my life, and timeless books that I'll never get tired of reading. Okay? These are books that will continue to help me become successful and be successful. Okay? But my favorite book of all time is The 48 Laws of Power, which is connected to the lineage of the prince. Okay? So enjoy your day. Enjoy your week. I highly recommend The Prince. I highly recommend the 48 Laws of Power. I highly recommend the 50th Law of Power. Because in life, there's only one position, the strong position. In life, there's only one position, the strong position. In life, there's only one position, the strong position. Enjoy your day and enjoy your week. And remember, it is better to be feared than to be loved if you can't be both. Always eliminate and destroy all lineage. And number 3, be half man or half woman and half beast. Develop the perfect balance of lion for strength and fox for smarts. Enjoy your day.